The Browns and Ravens had a crazy game in the AFC North. The Browns almost gave it away. The 49ers and the Bengals play. We had two late games that went to overtime this afternoon or early this evening. The Packers took care of the Bears tonight, like a lot of people would expect. We also had a lot of great games in college basketball this past weekend, which I'm going to address. And we will start the show right after this.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sport.
Let's go ahead and get the show on the road.
This is Ice-T,
Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Natty Ice.
All right, sorry about that little technical glitch there. I was kind of relying on music for someone else, but all right, let's get this show on the road. In the game you just saw between the Packers and the Bears beat the Bears tonight 45-30. Everybody was thinking this was going to be a low-score defensive game. No, it did not live up to that. Aaron Rodgers, however, had a great night. 29-37, 341 yards passing, 4 touchdowns tonight. Aaron Jones, 65 yards total offense tonight. I'm combining both rushing and receiving. He had 2 touchdowns in the game. Alan Lazard, 89 yards total offense, combination of receiving and rushing, and he had a touchdown in the game. Devontae Adams, 10 catches tonight, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Rasul Douglas had a 55-yard pick-6 interception for a touchdown. And Preston Smith, a super night for him. 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. As for the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields from Ohio State, 18-33, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was picked off twice. Demary Byrd, 2 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown in the game. Jakeem Grant Sr., 1 catch, 46 yards, and a touchdown. And he even had a 97-yard punt return for a touchdown early in the game. Robert Quinn, I feel bad for him. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss tonight. Trevius Gibson tonight. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and that was it. The Bears turned the ball over 4 times in the ball game. The Bears only had 16 first downs, and they were penalized 7 times for 41 yards. Everybody was thinking if the Bears could pull off an upset, they could really make a shakeup in the playoff race. But that did not happen. There for a while, I thought the Bears were going to pull off an upset, but it didn't turn out to be. The Packers are now the number 2 seed in the NFC, and I'll address the rest of the playoff picture here in just a few minutes. But we got a few more games to talk about, including a classic battle that should not have happened up in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns beat the Baltimore Ravens early today in a 1 o'clock game, 24-22. The Browns had a 24-3 lead. They tried their doggonest to give it away. They did everything they could, but it didn't happen. Baker Mayfield, 22-32, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Jarvis Landry, 5 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown in the game. Austin Hooper, 5 catches, 30 yards, and he had a touchdown of his own. The defense for the Browns stepped up at the right time. Troy Hill, 3 tackles for loss today. Myles Garrett, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery, and a touchdown. All in the same play in the first half. That was the difference maker right there. Jadonovan Clowney, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. Tavares McKinley, 1 sack in the game. And that was huge. But the Baltimore Ravens suffered some setbacks. Lamar Jackson was hurt. Got hurt in the end of the first half. He did not return. So Tyler Huntley had to come out of nowhere. 27 of 38, 270 yards and a touchdown. Mark Andrews, 11 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. Rashad Bateman, 7 catches for 103 yards. The Cleveland Browns won this game despite the fact they only had 20 first downs, 290 yards total offense. Baltimore turned the ball over twice, and on third down, the Browns defense really showed. The Baltimore Ravens, and on third down today, they were only 1 of 12. Then the Ravens were also penalized 10 times for 125 yards. And the Browns won the time of possession battle, having the ball for almost 34 minutes. The Browns had a huge 24-6 lead at the end of the first half. They almost gave it away. But the defense answered the bell at the right time, and the Browns got a huge win. Now, the Browns are still on the outside looking in on the playoff race, but I'll address the rest of that. But the Ravens, losing 2 in a row, wow. That's all you can say. The Ravens are clinging to life in the AFC North. All right. We'll come back to the AFC North here in a minute, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's talk about an AFC East battle they're going to have everybody talking today. The Dallas Cowboys face the Washington football team. The Cowboys came out winners today, 27-20. Dak Prescott, 22 of 39, 211 yards, a touchdown. He got picked off twice. Amari Cooper, 5 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown. Dorrance Armstrong, 1 fumble recovery, and he had a touchdown of his own in the game. The defense answered the bell for the Cowboys, and I'll explain what I mean. Micah Parsons from Penn State, 2 sacks and 1 tackle for loss. DeMarcus Lawrence, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss today. Neville Gallimore, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And Randy Gregory had 1 sack in the game. It was a huge win for the Cowboys. For the Washington football team, Taylor Heinicke, 11 of 25 for 122 yards, a touchdown. He was picked off once. Jonathan Williams, 4 carries for 16 yards. My apologies there. And he did have a touchdown in the game. Cam Sims, 3 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Jonathan Allen, I feel bad for this guy. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss today. Cole Holcomb, he could have been a difference maker. He had a 31-yard pick-6 interception for a touchdown. Doran Payne, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss today. And Landon Collins, 2 sacks and a tackle for loss today. How disappointing. What went wrong with the Washington football team? Well, let's see. Washington only had 14 first downs, 224 yards total offense in the game. And somebody from the Washington football team got ejected for a targeting call. And on top of that, they only had the ball for 25 minutes. And on top of that, 4 turnovers. So 14 first downs, 224 yards total offense. 4 turnovers. Didn't have the ball for only 25 minutes. And they were only 3 of 14 on third down in the ball game. That's what went wrong with Washington. But as for the Dallas Cowboys, a big win. They were actually up 24-8 at one point in this ball game. And they almost found a way to give it away. But the defense, once again, found the right time to step up to the plate. And the Dallas Cowboys are well on their way. Can they clinch the NFC East? We'll have to wait and see on that. But a huge win for the Cowboys on this Sunday. Now, let's move on The San Francisco 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals. The 49ers beat the Bengals 26-23 in overtime. And it was a huge victory for the Bengals in their own right. I mean, for the 49ers in their own right. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. The 49ers got a huge win and a momentum swing. Jimmy Garoppolo, 27 of 41, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns in the game. Deebo Samuel, 8 carries for 37 yards and a touchdown. George Kittle, the hero of the game, 13 catches, 151 yards, and a touchdown. Brandon Ariad, 6 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown of his own. But the best part about it was the way the defense stepped up. Aziz Al-Shahir, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss today. Kawan Williams, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And Nick Bosa from Ohio State, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. As for the Cincinnati Bengals, what can you say? The disappointment is there. But Joe Burrow, 25 of 34, 348 yards, 2 touchdowns. I hate numbers like that in the loss. T. Higgins, 5 catches for 114 yards. Jamar Chase, 5 catches for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game. Larry Ogunjobi, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss in the game. B.J. Hill, 1 sack and a tackle for loss. DJ Reader, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss today. And Trey Hendrickson, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss today. The Bengals did not lead this game at all until overtime. Here's the thing. The Bengals were down 24-6 going into the 4th quarter. This game should have never been close. The 49ers should have just blown their doors off. I'm sorry. But the Bengals, give them credit. They made one whale of a game out of it. They took the lead going into overtime. And then it was the hero of the game. It was Deebo Samuel. Yeah, that's right. Deebo Samuel with the big touchdown run that gave the 49ers the victory tonight. A huge win for the 49ers keeps them alive in the playoff race. And that is what the 49ers needed in the NFC West. And that's the bottom line. But if you think that was the only game that went into overtime on this Sunday, you are dead wrong. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Buffalo Bills in overtime 33-27. A huge win for the Buccaneers and a major setback for the Buffalo Bills. Tom Brady, 31 of 46, 363 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 7 carries for 10 yards and he ran for a score. Leonard Fournette, a huge day for him. 19 carries, 113 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans, 6 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. And Rashad Perriman only had 1 catch in overtime, and it was the game winner for 56 yards, and he had a touchdown in this game. Devin White, 1.5 sacks and a tackle for loss. Shaquille Barnett, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss in the game. But what can you say? Rashad Perriman. Let me try that in the game. Rashad Perriman had a big catch. Only 1 catch, but it was the game winner for a touchdown. He had not been targeted all game. That is why the Buccaneers won. But that wasn't the only reason. For the Buffalo Bills, however, Josh Allen, 36 of 54, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He tried to carry the game on his shoulders. 12 carries for 109 yards and a touchdown. Dawson Knox, 7 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Gabriel Davis, 5 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown of his own. Matt Milano, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And Eli Inco, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. The 2 biggest Achilles heels for the Bills in this game were the fact they only went 2 of 13 on 3rd down today. And they were penalized 7 times for 65 yards. That's not going to win a game. I don't care who you are. I'm sorry. The The Bills had a huge chance to get back into the playoff race in the AFC East. But now they're starting to fade. And it's going to get real bad for the Bills. As for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a huge win for Tom Brady at home. The Buccaneers had a huge lead and they almost gave it away. But one big catch by one big person got the job done for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this Sunday. But now, if you look at the AFC play, if you look at the playoff picture, now I'm going to get to the playoff picture here. The playoff picture in the AFC is about as crowded as can be. You got New England, the 1 seed at 9-4. Tennessee, the 2 seed at 9-4. Kansas City, the 3 seed at 9-4. The top 3 teams battling it out for the 1 seed. Then you got the 2 8-5 teams. The Baltimore Ravens at 8-5, they own the 4 seed. The LA Chargers at 8-5, they're the 5 seed. And then you got the 2 7-6 teams that are still in it for the playoffs. The Indianapolis Colts now have the 6 seed in the playoffs. And the Buffalo Bills, they're at 7-6, fighting for their playoff lives. And now all of a sudden you got 4 teams in the hunt for the playoffs. The Cleveland Browns, a huge win over the Baltimore Ravens on this Sunday. We'll be seeing them on Saturday when they face the Las Vegas Raiders. The Cincinnati Bengals suffered a huge setback tonight. They're now on the outside looking in. The Denver Broncos, can Denver possibly jump in and take it away? But now you got to consider the 6-1 Steelers. Can they possibly get into the playoffs now? They suffered a huge setback thanks to the Minnesota Vikings. The AFC playoff picture is crowded. It's getting overcrowded, I should say. Now, the NFC playoff picture. The 1 seed, the Arizona Cardinals, they'll be facing the Rams tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers, a huge win just a few minutes ago over the Chicago Bears, puts them on the 2 seed. The 3 seed, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, had to come back and win it in overtime. The Dallas Cowboys, they're at the 4 seed. A huge win today over the Washington Football Team keeps their playoff hopes intact. The 5 seed, the Los Angeles Rams. They're at 8-4 and a huge win. And a win tomorrow night could be a big help and really mess everything up in the playoffs. The 6 seed, the San Francisco 49ers, a huge win over the Cincinnati Bengals earlier today. And the 7 seed in the playoffs, despite the loss today to the Dallas Cowboys, is the Washington Football Team at 6-7. But they're not the only 6-7 team. We have 4 teams in the hunt with the same record. The Minnesota Vikings, a huge win over the Steelers this past Thursday night. They could possibly jump in if Washington loses this weekend. The Philadelphia Eagles had a bye week. That could be something to think about. The Atlanta Falcons at 6-7. And the New Orleans Saints. We'll be seeing the Saints face the Buccaneers next week on Sunday night on NBC Sunday Night Football. The playoff race is getting tighter and tighter. We only got a few weeks left in the season. Anything can happen. I got to pay attention to everything in the NFL playoff picture, folks. In the AFC and the NFC. The AFC, we've had 3 different teams hold the top seed this season. We also have 12 teams with a 500 or better record in contention for the playoffs. The best AFC team can do for the playoffs this year is 12-4. All the AFC teams have 4 losses or more within the teams that are fighting for the playoffs. It was crazy this weekend in the NFL. And that is the truth of the matter. Okay, I've had enough NFL talk. It's time to move on to college basketball. Now, I just want to let you know, earlier today, Baylor beat Villanova 57-36. It was a boring game. I'm not going to bore you with the stats in that game because you would lose interest. But we had some great games this past weekend in college basketball. Number 21 Ohio State beat number 22 Wisconsin 73-55. This was a Saturday game. That's how we opened the weekend. And that's how I opened the college basketball segment. E.J. Little, 28 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, an almost double-double. Zed Key, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. He almost had a double-double. For Wisconsin, Johnny Davis, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. He was only 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. And Brad Davison, 13 points, 5 rebounds. Ohio State is now 3-2 when they turn the ball over 12 times or more. Ohio State did have 14 turnovers in the game. And Ohio State shot 58% in the first half. The Wisconsin defense, the 7th best defense in the country, or the top ranked defense in the country, I should say, and their defense is only given up 59.1 points per game. For the second time this season, the Wisconsin defense has given up 70 points or more. And that is huge. As for Ohio State in this game, Ohio State shot 29 of 58 from the field for 50%. They were 6 of 19 from beyond the arc. That's 31.6%. And they were 9 of 13 at the free throw line for 69.2%. Yes, they did have 14 turnovers. They still got to work on that. And Ohio State's largest lead at one point was 23. Keep that in mind. As for Wisconsin, they shot 22 of 65 from the field. That's 33.8%. They were only 6 of 26 from beyond the arc. That's 23.1% if you're keeping score at home. In Wisconsin, 5 of 9 at the free throw line for 55.6%. Not very impressive. Yes, they only committed 8 turnovers, but their largest lead was only 8. Wisconsin coach Greg Gard said after the game, "We just ran into a tough Ohio State basketball team." And Chris Holtman was very pleased with E.J. Lytle, and a big win in this game. The Buckeyes got a huge victory over Wisconsin. Now we'll see how Ohio State falls when the rankings come out on Tuesday. But we also had an upset. We had 2 huge upsets. Number 1 in the nation, Purdue, fell. I'm going to talk about Purdue here in just a minute. But first, Oklahoma upset number 12 Arkansas 88-66. For Oklahoma, Elijah Harkless, 21 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Tanner Groves, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 block shot. Jordan Goldwire, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. Umaja Gibson, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Jalen Hill, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. And as for Arkansas, Devontae Davis, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. JD Note, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Arkansas never led once in this game. Despite they only committed 14 turnovers, and how bad that was. Arkansas for this game only shot 21 of 61 from the field for 34.4%. They only shot 29.2% from beyond the arc, one for only 7 of 24. Yes, they were 17 of 18 from the free throw line, but it's not good when you have a bad game like this. As for Oklahoma, they were red hot all day. 28 of 51 from the field. That's almost 55%, 54.9 to be exact. And they shot 13 of 22 from beyond the arc. That's 59.1%. And they had 19 of 22 from the free throw line for 86.4%. But the frustration for Arkansas showed late in the game. Arkansas head coach Eric Musselman got 2 technical fouls and got ejected from the game with 3.5 minutes left. He was accusing the officials of not calling anything against Oklahoma. That's what was going on there. Everybody knew it. And that's the truth. It was a frustrating game for the Arkansas Razorbacks, and it showed on Saturday. But if you think that was the only upset, how about number one? Actually, we had 3 upsets on Saturday. I'm going to talk about them here in a minute. I thought I had that wrote down. I forgot to write down the Rutgers-Purdue upset. I forgot all about that. But oh well. My apologies there. I forgot. I've never thought about it. But we had 2 other huge upsets. We had one other huge upset. Number 10 Kentucky lost to Notre Dame, 66-62. Notre Dame had a big win. Blake Wesley was the hero of the game. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. He is the first South Bend public high school student to sign with Notre Dame for the first time in 36 years. And yes, he was the hero with the jumper with 11 seconds left in the game. Dane Goodwin, 14.6 rebounds, 1 assist. Trey Wirtz, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in the game. Paul Atkinson Jr., 10.6 rebounds, 3 assists. A huge win for Notre Dame. As for Kentucky, Oscar Tushler, 25.7 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 2 blocks. I hate that. Keontae Brooks Jr., 12.7 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. And that was it for him. What went wrong with Kentucky? Well, Kentucky was only 2 of 9 from beyond the arc, or 2 of 19 from beyond the arc, 3-point land. That's only 10.5%. Kentucky shot 25 of 55 from the field. That's 45.5%. As for Notre Dame, the 3-point shooting was good, but not spectacular. 7 of 22 from beyond the arc. That's 31.8%. But they did shoot 26 of 56 from the floor for 46.4%. Notre Dame hit 7 of 8 at the free throw line for 87.5%. As for Kentucky, it was only a 10 of 15 at the free throw line for 66.7%. The team's largest lead for this game, both of them only led by 5. That's how competitive this game was. Kentucky head coach John Calipari said, when you miss 17 to 19 from beyond the arc, we got a huge problem. And we need to fix it before we really get into SEC play. We suffered a setback, people, and that's all there was to it. And that's what John Calipari said after the game. As for Notre Dame, what a win it was for them. And it was a huge one at that. And that's the bottom line. Now, that was not the only crazy game on Saturday. The other crazy game that we had was number 14 Houston, number 9 Alabama. Alabama beat Houston 83-82 on a questionable call at the end of the game. But first, Alabama's DeJuan Gary, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 1 block. Jaden Shackelford, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Jaquan Kinnerly, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals in the game. J.D. Davison, his heroics late in the game, gave Alabama the win. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But first, he had 10 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. As for the Houston Cougars, Marcus Sasser, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Jamal Sheed, 14 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 2 steals in the game. Josh Carlton, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 3 block shots. Fabian White Jr., 11.6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. This was a crazy game. Alabama had 12 turnovers. Houston had 10. But Alabama shot better from the floor. 26 of 50 from the field. That's 52%. They were 7 of 18 from 3-point range. That's 38.9%. And at the free throw line, Alabama was better. 24 of 31 for 77.4%. As for the Houston Cougars, they shot 31 of 73 from the field. That's 42.5%. In Houston, 9 of 26 from beyond the arc. That's 34.6%. And they shot 11 of 19 from the free throw line for 57.9%. Houston's biggest lead was only 3. Alabama's largest lead was 8. And Houston did turn the ball over 10 times. I'm not going to deny it. But at the end of the game, where J.D. Davison's late game heroics came into play, he had a slam dunk. But there was a problem. There was a late game goaltend that did not get called. Marcus Sasser was trying to go up for a shot. J.D. Davison reached up. We thought it hit the cylinder, hit the rim. J.D. Davison knocked the ball down. Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson was grabbing the officials, screaming, saying he wanted a review. But under the rules, it was not a reviewable play. So the Alabama Crimson Tide come out on top 83-82 over the Houston Cougars in a big, big game. And it was a huge win for them as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I will close the show with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama got a huge win in college basketball. But just a little while ago, but just a few hours earlier, on Saturday night, Bryce Young won the Heisman Trophy. He was an almost runaway win. Aiden Hutchinson of Michigan came home second in the Heisman voting. Bryce Young had a great season in football. He had a great season. I'm not going to deny it. Can he lead the Crimson Tide to another national title? We'll have to wait and see on that. But the Alabama basketball team, following it up with a huge victory over Houston at home, was a great win. Bryce Young was probably watching that game from somewhere in New York City. It was a super win for a great player. And I'll tell you what, the college basketball season is now well underway, and the college football bowl season is going to be starting here very soon. A huge win for the state of Alabama and the Crimson Tide on a great weekend. And that's all there was to it on this night. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this night. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Scott Manning. All you have to do is type my name, scroll down, look for this pretty face, click subscribe, and you'll see all the sports videos I have done so far. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this night. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for being with me, and God bless. Good night, everybody, and I thank you.